It's 4 wins in a row for Rangers. Kris Boyd, he's beginning to turn that frown upside down, but he was asked on Sky Sports against Ross County to give his player of the season for Rangers, and he gave it to Czerny. We're going to dive into the quotes in a wee minute, but what do we think? Initial reaction to that? Is that about right? It probably is.
Well, I'm glad you pronounced his first name, because I certainly would not have said it that way, but yeah. Cerny, I think, has been impressive lately. I think he came in and, to me, looked pretty poor. He had a couple of decent moments. He had that goal against Motherwell, and can't deny it was a good goal, worthy of winning the game. But for me, his first, six weeks or whatever wasn't that great. But I think that since he found confidence, he has definitely been Rangers' best player. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I think what you've got to say is that I think against Celtic he was pretty poor. He was then beginning to throw his hands up in games, but you know what? He's knuckled down since then, and he's produced 9 goals and 5 assists so far this season. So that's a decent return for Cerny. It doesn't look like Rangers are going to be able to keep him permanently, and that's always a problem with loan signings, isn't it? Rangers over the last few years have done that.
Honestly, I mean, it was looking like at the early part of the season, you weren't too worried about not being able to keep Cerny, but you're looking at it now, and it's like, I think you would rather this guy in your team than Barami next year.
Yeah.
I think you'd rather Barami was the loan deal.
Yeah, no.
Barami probably came in with even more hype.
He did.
He's not delivered. If anything, he's kind of had the opposite effect of Cerny.
Yeah.
He seems to be getting worse the longer his career goes on. Cerny's getting better.
We'll see how that goes, but let's see how big boy that got his point across. He said, and I quote, "Cerny for me. Sometimes you have to think to yourself, where would Rangers be if it wasn't for him? I know it's not been a great season for Rangers so far, but if you look at his impact and what he's brought to this Rangers team, it's been huge." End of quote. I agree, right? And I think some people can't separate good players from bad times. It's like, some people seem to think that not one single Rangers player in this team wouldn't have worked in a team in the past. That's just not how football works. It's a team game at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just because people are struggling in this team doesn't mean they couldn't have, did well.
Rangers haven't had a right mid at the club for donkeys. I mean, people say since Candace, right? So you add Cerny to this team during the Europa League run or during the title 55. It's going to improve it. It's absolutely going to improve it. And as I said earlier, obviously we're not at the halfway point of the season yet, but he has 9 goals and 5 assists, and we know him for cutting in on his left and bending it past the goalie. He currently sits second behind Cyril Dessers. Can you hazard a guess at how many goals Cyril Dessers got for Rangers this season?
All competitions?
Aye, Cerny's got 9, so how many's Dessers got? Hit me with it. Big number.
I'm going to say 12.
Oh, right on the money. 12 goals.
I know my stuff.
It just shows you how shite...
You don't get the name Jambo Bear for nothing.
You don't. It just shows you how shite Dessers is when he's got 12 goals and no one wants anything to do with him. Doesn't it?
But I do say, I feel a wee bit bad for Dessers. Like, as pish as he is, he does score goals. But then again, how many does he miss? You got to factor that in as well.
And that is the problem. And Cerny also level on assists with James Tavernier. And James Tavernier has been the guy to whip out the assists recently. But, I mean, you look at Tillman, you look at, Sima last year. They are 2 players, right? They're absolutely kicking on with their careers. Tillman, great Champions League performances this season with PSV. Sima, great Champions League performances this season with Brest. Could you imagine if Rangers had both of them? And I know, right? Tillman didn't want to stay in Scottish football. Difference is Sima did. There are differences to this game at the end of the day. But I agree with Boyd. For me, it has to be Cerny who's the Rangers player of the season. You're beginning to see players be given a bit more of a chance in Igamani, in Hadji. Danilo's returning from injury. Maybe come February, March, we'll have a different player. Hell, come May, we might have a different player. But I would agree, right here, right now, it's Cerny.